If you take a moment to think about your life, ask yourself if things have generally gone according to plan. Is everything in your life where you expected it to be a month ago, 6 months ago, or years ago? Generally, for me at least, and I think for a lot of you guys watching, probably hasn't quite gone to plan. And that is the nature of life, that change is inevitable. And that's the theme of the video today that I want to tie into everything, which is mostly going to be an update video. But for you watching, really just take a moment to think about it. Are things where you thought they would be any number of years back, especially with unexpected world events or life events or personal things that just come up out of nowhere? Or sometimes you just pivot and you think you wanted to do a certain thing, a career, whatever it might be, and then you take a sudden change. Or sometimes that change is thrust upon you unexpectedly, and it could be a positive thing, it could be a negative thing. But the theme of the video today that I'm trying to tie in is that we should embrace that change, whether it's good or bad, or learn how to grow from it. How can we deal with it through our creative pursuits, maybe like photography, or any number of means like having a support network, being surrounded by friends and family, whatever it might be for you. I think compounding a number of these avenues is really helpful in dealing with change. And for me, at least, photography is a big way of doing that. And I think for a lot of you guys watching, it might be a commonality between us there. But yeah, if you really just think about it, have you ever had anything unexpected happen in life? I'm sure for everyone watching, you must have had something. Or that if you think back to when you were in high school, are you doing what you thought you'd be doing? Are you in the situation that you would have expected that even 1 year ago? All these little circumstances of where you're working, who you're with, your daily routine, is it where you wanted it to be? Probably not quite. Even if it is to some degree, I think that for a lot of us, change is just inevitable. Yeah, you may have noticed a bit of an inconsistency on the channel in terms of output, in terms of just consistency in general, because of certain life events. So as you may know, if you watched my Perth vlog, I went through a breakup late last year in October, and that really changed my life. It really changed things in a heavy way. So that was around late last year, and it meant that I had to move out by the end of the year, late December, which I did. So I was living in a temporary situation. I was subletting a room at a friend's house for the last 4 or 5 months. And it was only until recently that I found a place of my own. And this is where I am now, where I've moved into. So that would explain this new setup, which I'm going to continue to refine, that you probably see a lot more of in future videos and live streams. So that was a big change in my life that I had to accept. That was not something I expected, and was something that I touched on in that vlog. So if you're watching this and thinking, wait, what happened? I didn't know about this. Yeah, this is something I touched on, I mentioned. So if you want to watch that video, you can go and watch it. It's the vlog that I put out from Perth when I went there in November last year. So the vlog came out around January, but yeah, I addressed it briefly there. I didn't go into detail because I don't really want to go into personal detail too much. I'm happy to share what happened and just the basics of it. But I talked a little bit more about it in that video, some of the implications at least, and how you guys watching and how we can all relate to this, because I like to keep private life private for the most part, even though I'm happy to just give you the ins and outs. And, long story short, I'm fine. We're both fine. It was a decision that was coming up for a long time, and we're both better off now and moving on. And it just is what it is. So, without going into too much detail, you can go and watch the Perth vlog, and there's some nice lessons in there that came about unexpectedly during that trip that will be more relatable to you guys watching. So that happened, and I was in a temporary situation. So the videos weren't to the usual standard. I wasn't able to put out as many. I wasn't able to do as many of the technical videos that involved, like scanning film and having all my stuff. A lot of it was in storage. Darkroom related stuff wasn't as much. Printing, editing, processing film. I was mostly just using labs and not processing as much of my own film. So that had a cascade effect on what I could do on the channel and what I was willing to do on the channel. I placed a lot of importance over the last 6 months on trying to reestablish a sense of routine, reconnecting with just my sense of being, with connecting with new people, making new friends, hanging out with friends, as I said in the Perth vlog, reconnecting with family. and old friends over there, and just doing these sort of things that I think help adapt, which one of which was definitely photography and taking photos. So I did document life as I normally would have, even during difficult times. I think that's important to do if you are someone who really is into photography, is to document as much as you can. Obviously, not everything you can or would want to, but even some of the hard times. Like I remember just taking photos when I unexpectedly had to get surgery or something, and just spending time at my friend's house with his wife and the cats, and so that new way of living, as a lot of us did maybe during lockdowns, just kind of embracing that change by documenting it, I think can be a powerful thing, not only because it creates a record, but it gives you a constant that if you're a photographer, something that you're used to going to and doing and exercising and having that practice is something that is a constant in life when there is some unexpected change maybe. So that was the last 6 months for me. You may have noticed a little bit of a different flavor on the channel, and that is a large reason why. So the move, I've got that. Another big thing was doing the Sydney vlog, for example. The Sydney trip was a way for me to go and connect with new people, meet new people, and stay engaged with the community and try and continue to do those meetups. Even though I haven't been able to do as many meetups, I'm still trying to do them. I've still tried to keep up with the channel and with my creative outlet, even if it has been a bit turbulent. So that is the lesson that I want to try and impart. If you were to watch no further, is to try and embrace change and just roll with it, and to not resist it, right? Because I don't think that really helps. So in terms of photography, one of the latest things I shot was actually the new Kentmere 200 film that I was sent some rolls of by Harmon early on, but because I had been moving into the new place over the last 2 weeks, I wasn't able to do a video at launch. You would have seen probably a whole bunch of videos come out on YouTube from other reviewers, which is great. And I told Harmon, they were cool with it. They said, we don't really need every single video to come out all at once anyway, which makes sense. So I will be sharing my thoughts on this film in one of the next videos on the channel. In fact, it will be the next video on the channel. So I shot it in 120 in the Pentax 645N and in the Nikon F2 in 35mm. So I'm actually just in the process of sleeving and scanning some of it. Maybe I'll put a couple of shots up on the screen, but yeah, that was a cool little release from Harmon to have the new Kentmere 200 in between the other two speeds. And we'll wait for my video on that. I have been otherwise trying to keep up with shooting daily life stuff with other projects and experimenting more with lighting and cinematic stuff and whatever it is, something that I've always been a fan of, and doing printing, for example. So printing has been a big focus on the channel ever since the beginning, really, but I had a renewed sense of focus on it ever since last year when I introduced my Exposure to Print series. So if you're not familiar with that, go check it out. The first episode introduced the magic of darkroom printing, and that's something I really love and hope to do more of as time goes on. But I love printing in general, and I think it's great to do for everyone who takes photos. And I just launched Exposure to Print episode 2 as my last video on the channel, which introduced inkjet printing. I have a new Canon Pro 300 that I've been experimenting with. That video was a lot of fun. I had Ilford sponsor it with some paper, and I think inkjet and darkroom printing are both valuable means of getting your work into the real world, and something that I want to talk about more on the channel as time goes on. So there will be more on printing as we go along. Another thing on the channel that I haven't done in a while is on location shooting. I did do a little vlog going out to shoot at an American car show, classic car show, which was really fun again, and trying to have a little bit more of a personal touch and integrate life events and lessons into some of these videos. Obviously not all the time. It won't really be a factor in my tutorial videos, but let me know what you think of that. But I do want to do an actual road trip, a photo road trip, something I haven't done for a long time, and something I've never done alone as an overnight or multi-day trip. So I want to do a multi-day road trip if I can figure out the affordability and viability of that. Then I will do just a trip into the outback, which is a part of Australia that I've never been to. Even though I was born here and grew up here, I've been all around coasts and all the different cities, but never into the middle, into the outback. So that's something that I'm going to try and see if I can do in the next month. And that will mean that maybe I can do a pretty, interesting video while out there of some kind, but it will involve a lot of on location shooting, which is always fun. Another thing I want to do is bring back those technical videos, whether they involve camera scanning, dealing with film and processing, or editing, all that kind of stuff, the technical side of things, metering. That'll come back as I get set up here and bring that onto the channel again. Another thing would be live streams, because I haven't been doing as many live streams. So you may have noticed a big absence of them over the last 6 months. I only did maybe one. But now that I've got my new setup, I will have a lot easier of a time deciding to do a stream and just turning the camera on and being able to set that up now that I'm in my own space, and I've pretty much just used it, the main part of the space for what I do, for my work and recording these videos and other stuff. So yeah, back to change and photography. How can you use photography or whatever creative outlet you have to help you embrace change? I think it's valuable because, like I said, when there's something unexpected or a bunch of unexpected things in life, having a constant, whether it's your routine, your practice, whatever that could be, maybe it's another hobby, maybe it's just who you surround yourself with, or your work, your exercise and health routine, whatever it could be, or a combination of things would be best. I did touch on this on my video on motivation, but I think having something like photography to turn to as your practice and to just do it even when you don't necessarily feel like it is a valuable thing that helps in the long run in dealing with the unexpected aspects of life, because things never really go to plan, at least not completely. And at least not in my opinion. Let me know though, you guys, has that been the case for you? Have you had unexpected change and how have you dealt with it? But yeah, I think that photography can be really valuable because it lets you reach for the familiar, right? So if that is something familiar for you, it helps you deal with it, helps you exercise your mind, your way of seeing. And it just, for me at least, it puts me into a flow state sometimes. I'm just out on location in the middle of nowhere taking photos or shooting street, which is why I try to still keep up with that even during the difficult times, or even just during all that change, going out and shooting street. I touched on it during one of my videos, shooting Portrait 160 in the city, and just using that as an opportunity to connect with the world, to interact with people if you want, or even to just interact with nature, whatever it might be, that photography brings value onto the table for you. So keep up with it. And I think it can be a valuable tool. Another thing that I'm thinking of is that even within our hobbies, let's say with film photography, there is going to be inevitable change. And I see mixed ways of people dealing with that or reacting to it, and myself included. Sometimes I find something that changes within my hobby, like film prices going up. Maybe they've gone up 2 or 3 times since I started or more. And we might be tempted to complain, but that doesn't really achieve anything. So if you're going to do that, just get it done and get it out of the way, because that initial resistance or denial, it should be short-lived. Whether it's to do with unimportant change or even with important change, resistance doesn't really help. So it's about adapting. And even with the film world, we have discontinuations, we have price rises, things we used to love no longer being available, or whatever it is. It's important to find ways to embrace that and to grow from it. For example, can having less access to film make me a better photographer? The fact that it's more expensive, would that make me even more selective than I already was? It can, if I want to reframe it that way. Think about it. There might be a bad side, but where's the good side in it? Maybe I'll start to consider every shot I take as a potential print. Maybe you can do that. Not every single shot, but try and put more importance in it. That's why we love film, right? And the fact that it gets more expensive, sure, it'd be better if it wasn't, but you have to just adapt and embrace the change. So whether it means downsizing or refining your selection of cameras or the film that you shoot, find ways to grow from it. And that is, I think, the note that I want to end the video on is, how can you grow from change? So change might come in life. Unexpected events might happen where they might be disappointing or they might be negative, but sometimes they're positive. But either way, how can you grow from it? Even if it is, especially when it's something negative or unexpected, how can you take the good part out of that wherever it might be possible, and to embrace that change and to grow from it. And that's something that I've been trying to do, is take stock of the situation that was thrust upon me somewhat unexpectedly over the course of the last year or so, something that I never would have seen happening, but it did. And it was just a matter of saying, all right, well, it is what it is, and how can I grow from it? Even when you're in that dark tunnel, you have to see the light at the end, and think about how you can improve. Where did I go wrong? How can I be better? And so on, right? So even with loss, I think that's an important thing. And then there's positive things too. There's positive change that comes upon you, especially when you have an open mind and that sort of abundance mindset, and try not to focus only on the negative aspect of things. So that's what I want to end the video on, is photography can be a positive aspect of life, and it can help you deal with change and help you embrace it. And even within photography, there will be change, and any creative pursuit really. So keep that at the forefront. Don't be too rigid in your expectations of what the future will bring, because I think that sets you up for disappointment, and it's better to be flexible and to be open. So in saying that, what are your thoughts? If you've watched till the end and reflected upon whether your life was in any way as you would have expected a year ago, multiple years ago, have you had major events in life? How have you dealt with that? How has your photographic pursuit, if you are someone who's a photographer, how has that helped you at all, or other things? So let me know. Thank you for your patience in this time where things have been a little bit different on the channel, but yeah, expect them to continue to be different in their own way. But at least I'm hoping to bring a bit more consistency to the channel as time goes on. If you do like this style of video, it's not something I often do on this channel, but head over to my personal channel, Hashim McAdam. I've got a link to that. If you haven't already subscribed to that, go and check it out, because that is somewhere where I will be more likely to do this style of video if you enjoy it, where I just talk about things, where I do my monologues or podcast style videos. But here I want to bring back a little bit more of the interesting nitty-gritty stuff, while maybe peppering a bit of this. But if you do like more of the personal side of things, you want to follow along with my life, that is something where I'm going to put more into the other channel. And there has been a bit of a lull on that channel as well, but I will be bringing back consistency there too, now that I'm set back up. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience once again. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.